Pizza Pants couldn't understand what was going on. This was not uncommon. Pizza Pants had been described as many things: greasy, expressive, street smart, weirdly incel adjacent for someone with a boyfriend. That's true, he often is described that way. I've heard this. But attentive and adaptable were not on that list. So when Asriel invited him to go camping in the woods surrounding hometown, Pants was so excited that he failed to listen to the second half of Asriel's sentence. The half where he explained that he borrowed Caddy's grimoire and found an interesting ritual. Where he said that he needed the solitude. He's borrowing a grimoire. The half where he explained that he borrowed Caddy's grimoire and found an interesting ritual. Where he said that he needed the solitude and the floor space that the forest provided in order to perform this rite. Where he said, somewhat worryingly, that he felt something calling to him. Oh, I see. So Asriel's going occult camping, and Pizza Pants thinks it's normal camping. A classic setup. Yeah, Pants as a nickname is beautiful. So we've already got the occult. We have our free space. Pizza Pants is remarkably characterized in this fic as a gay incel in a relationship. That's impressive. I'm not sure how you get that working psychologically.
One, two, three, four, five, six.
We're counting.
Seven.
We're counting. Who made this fucking playlist? This is so dumb. Oh no, I missed the second paragraph. Pizza Pants didn't hear any of that, and thought they were just going to the woods to make out. Imagine his surprise when he opened up his eyes and there was a hippo hero standing there. After placing some icy brand pizza-flavored canned eels that were previously used by the pair in less than safe for work contexts. Oh geez, okay. Is that... No, it's not, nothing happened. It's not implied that anything happened. This is just a reference to the concept of Gex. I'm not going to count that. But we know they're freaky. In a circle, Asriel unfurled a canvas square with a complex symbol on it that could have been pulled from the lesser key of Solomon, maybe the greater key, maybe the middle key of Solomon, maybe not even Solomon, who knows. Circles, hooks, and flanged crosses, rendered in paint and bounded by an outer ring. The Elden Ring! In any other circumstance, it would have just been a spooky design. But now, cast in the yellow glow of the candles and the strange pallor of twilight, the lines and curves began to have a dark purpose. Or seemed to have a dark purpose, as if through them there may be communion. Azzy, any chance you could tell me what you're doing? Pizza Pants was, at this point, shaking like a leaf that owes money to a caterpillar mafia. That's a fucking phrase. It's simple, Pizza Pants, Asriel said as he crawled back to their tent and got some of the sage and holly berries he brought. I've always wanted to do a little bit of sacrilege, you know? Away from my mum. Away from the eyes of Father Alvin. See how it feels to get fucked up and satanic. Yeah, I feel that. The rebellious choir boy. That's a vibe. He's gonna take his Catholic Church anime gajinka and hang her from a noose or something in his locker at school. It was plain to Pizza Pants that there was something Asriel wasn't saying. Pizza Pants often didn't listen to words, but he paid great attention to moods. He's like a dog. And this was not the I'm rebelling against my parents Asriel. When he went to parties, when they drank, when they cruised around picking up purely hypothetical chicks, Asriel was the very picture of bubbly. He would giggle and be raucous with his body, and rattlesnakes would randomly invade their ears and show his surprisingly venomous side. But this Azzy was reserved, quiet, almost reverent. His movements were slow and careful as he controlled, and his contented smile didn't reach his eyes. One by one reference. Eyes that traced the brushstrokes of the symbol before them. When he placed the herbs around that central seal, he did so with the utmost tenderness, making sure not the slightest twig was out of place. His silhouette against the fading rainbow of the post-sunset was almost regal, proud horns curling out like the headdress of a high priestess. Not a high priest, specifically a priestess. Fascinating implications. We probably got some bingo stuff at this point, so we got colored text, of course. It's nighttime. That's good. It's unclear if it's currently Halloween actively. No one's kissed yet. No one's smoked yet. I think we're chill. Why would you count candles for Ice-E? Oh, they're Ice-E branded candles? Wait, did it imply they were doing kink shit with Ice-E candles? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. Like that's like inviting a third party. That's like letting Ice-E watch. I wouldn't be into that, but you know. Maybe there's an appeal. Spooky plasma I don't know, this is like a fucking Halloween playlist. It's just random noises. Spooky CERN ambiance for discovering the Higgs boson and study. Chat's trying to pin down my astrological sign. I'm not going to tell you. Mel, are you trying to say cucky cheeses? What is that? That better not be a fucking tag. Cucky cheese? Okay. Okay, where are we? The High Priestess. As are you telling me the whole truth? I feel like this. It feels like this. Pizza Pants considered the occult ritual that was unfolding in slow motion in front of him. Activity means more to you than you're telling me. Asriel's shoulders drooped a bit more. From where Pizza Pants was sitting, which happened to be a moss-covered log that he had dragged so it was lying across from their tent, looked like a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Asriel sighed. Wait, what? Asriel's shoulders drooped, but because a weight had been lifted off of them. That's some odd physics. Sorry. Asriel sighed, turned back to Pants, sat cross-legged on the sparse ground. Creak. The ground is very creaky in this part of the woods. The candles burned between them. Yep. Their light glinted off of Asriel's gentle eyes, and at that moment, Pizza Pants wanted to avoid their golden gaze. So in this one, his eyes are golden. We're getting lots of Azzy eye color lore. Only Asriel could respond to being called a liar with instant kindness. It frankly made Pizza Pants a little ashamed of his line of questioning. Pete, you always know how to read me. Asriel let his head tilt so that it was propped up by his hand, and looked lovingly, sidewaysedly at his other half. So we got Pete the Pants. That's a good one. That's a classic. I think that was the courier nickname, right? I think that was the one in the courier fic. That's a newer edition. A new innovation to the meta, you could say. Well, I gotta know what attractive people are thinking, right? Pants put on a toothy, shit-eating grin. Lets me know when I can get bigger tips. And how big of a tip is our relationship, would you say? Buddy, it has made every hour standing behind that counter retroactively worth it. Almost. Asriel smiled even wider, and it made Pants' heart warm, so warm. But maybe the warmth wasn't coming from his heart. Maybe it was the candles between them, which, as soon as Asriel started beaming brightly, responded in kind. They grew from dots of light to tongues of flame, and in as much time as it took to flex a few facial muscles. Ooh. He must have shown his fear on his face, or his body must have recoiled, because the smile slid off of Asriel, a hint of sadness crept into his eyes. It said something like, "This is why I didn't tell you." Asriel curled into a ball, ashamed. A chill, forlorn wind blew through the camp, making Asriel shiver, and snuffing out 2 of the candles. "You must be frightened of me." Pizza Pants hung his head. He knew this would happen. Asriel always felt so deeply. His tears, both real and crocodile, were loose and fell often. When he loved, there was nothing he wouldn't do for his beloved. When he cared, it was like the whole world cared too. His heightened emotional responses made him an open book for Pizza Pants, and also an ideal actor for a Hideo Kojima game, who had sharpened his people-reading skills to detect even a hint of condescension from what he called the members of the Homo Attractivus. Nice. This is how he retains his incel cred despite being in an active, healthy relationship. Perhaps this is why they ended up together. Pizza Pants spent his life, much like Diogenes if he was not covered not in filth but in pizza grease, searching for one honest man. And here was Asriel, genuineness incarnate. Referencing a Greek philosopher is almost an humorous reference, but it's not quite. It's just a Greek philosopher. Yeah, pretty good paragraph. I'm a fan of that. So this is interesting. I think it was... Let That Sink In had a plot point of Asriel light hanging around Pizza Pants because his mind was so open. He was so easy to read. And in this case, it's actually been inverted. It is now Pizza Pants who is being interpreted as the empath, essentially, and Asriel, who is the one who is an open book to him. Pants needed to make things better. Any hurt inflicted on Asriel Dreamer is too much. To damage the immaculate soul of his beloved would be unforgivable, or so the part of his brain that constantly regurgitated Shakespeare told him. Nice. Azzy, look, please don't cry. Pizza Pants stood up and walked to the perimeter of the ritual circle. He knelt down in the soft earth near the tent flap. Asriel still wouldn't meet his eyes. I just realized how perfect the Signalis music is. It's like spooky and gay music. I wasn't going to. Asriel was a bad liar. I'm not scared of you, Azzy. I'll never be. I love you, man. Pizza Pants drew Asriel into a hug, which was immediately and tightly reciprocated. In spite of himself, Asriel began to sniffle a little. I believe you, Pete. I really do. And it means a lot. Don't worry about me, okay? I'll be alright. Asriel's a huge crybaby, too. This is very... I wonder... This is brain rot, of course. But, like, this Asriel reminds me a lot of, his characterization in 1 by 1. That ancient fic. Where he's, you know, like, the disingenuous smile, like, the extreme proclivity to burst into tears. It is just kind of how he was in Undertale, but let me have my brain rot, okay? Something caught in Asriel's throat. His head was resting on Pants' shoulder, so the latter could feel him tense up. A few tender strokes on his back made those unsaid words slip out. The stars told me so. Oh. Now it was Pizza Pants' turn to tense up. He drew back and looked at Asriel with the most normal face he could conjure, which at this moment was a mangled grin with rivulets of sweat running down his face. Unfortunately for Pizza Pants, his face was also an open book. Asriel, I promise you, whatever crazy bullshit's happening to you right now, I'll be here, no matter how much what you just said sounded straight out of the insane asylum. Asriel wiped his eyes and smirked weakly. Like your stupid homo attractivist theories and you're less crazy, Pete. Hey, it's not my fault that my boyfriend didn't get involved in the meeting of the Illumahati. It's a stone-cold fact they changed what attractive means just to mess with me. We're getting off topic. What was the topic again? The stars, Pizza Pants. The Illumahati. That's gonna be, like, H-Bomber guy is gonna have to make a takedown video about that channel in a few months. The new incarnation. And Pizza Pants could see the stars, spread out like a river across the sky. The sun had sunk even deeper below the horizon during their conversation. Twilight was packing its bags and bidding adieu, too, as the woods seemed even more murky than before. Candlelight was the only thing keeping their little patch of woods lit. The sage cast its dark outline across the canvas seal, interrupting the pattern. Somewhere in the distance, a big door slammed, I guess. Pizza Pants felt that symbol, now edited with the black marker of shadow, meant something different. Through it, there may be sight. He had no idea how he knew this.
2 weeks ago, Asriel began, staring wide-eyed at the sky's endless dance. I had a dream. One that I still barely understand, but everything was so strangely familiar, like I'd seen it all before, in some discarded childhood memory.
Asriel reached back into the tent for his backpack and pulled out a creased softcover book. Pizza Pants recognized it. It had made the rounds throughout the underground. Oh, I was thinking of like Undertale. No, the underground rebellious teen circles after Caddy brought it back from the big city. A mass market grimoire for the modern age, filled with incantations, the names of angels and demons, and spells which had always had much too specific conditions for anyone to ever actually pull them off. It had only been a curiosity, something that snickering monsters would read under the school bleachers whenever they were more annoyed at the church than usual.
Chopin.
It was different, edgy, countercultural, ergo it was fun. But in Asriel's hand it seemed like a holy book, like there was an old truth behind those pages, just stirring awake. It's based on the Simon Necronomicon. I haven't heard of that specifically, but I'm sure that books like that exist.
I was swimming through the night sky without a care in the world. I was freer than free. Everyone I loved was taken care of. Chris, Mom, Dad, everyone. I don't know how, but I just knew. Everyone's hopes and dreams were fulfilled. Maybe it was because I was up there.
I'm gonna crank the Chopin. Asriel found the page he was looking for and tilted his head up toward the sky again.
And then I heard them whispering, soft and comforting voices from everywhere at once. They told me the world would beat in tandem with my heart, that my inheritance was coming a little early, that I was doing well down in the light world.
Asriel's eyes flicked back down to Pizza Pants.
And they told me that when I turn to dust, I will also become stardust.
Pizza Pants' eyes were as wide as saucers, and he gulped comically loud. He began to vibrate again. Asriel sounded surer than he ever had before, and though every word out of his mouth was deranged, he was speaking with 100% certainty.
But there was one thing that bothered me. They told me I was seeing a vision of the future. I really would be there, up among the stars. But
Asriel looked back down at the seal, and the candles dimmed, and the dew dropped from the trees like tears.
I didn't see you up there with me.
Pizza Pants was quiet. His mind was still processing the barrage of incomprehensible facts that Asriel had just spewed, but he still placed a comforting hand on Asriel's shoulder. The Golden Boy's expression did not change, but the two candles blown out by the wind reignited. Asriel looked at the grimoire with a desperate hope.
And I was doing this whole thing, the rite, to see if I would, someday.
Asriel took a long, shaky breath.
See you.
There was silence on the campgrounds, broken only by the soft patter of dewdrops falling on the tent. His eyes glittered. Overfilled cups shuddering with surface tension, one nudge away from breaking.
Now it's my turn to say it.
As he looked up in confusion, as Pizza Pants gave him a soft kiss on the cheek and a nuzzle with his forehead. The candle flame leapt and curled, a warm breeze brushed their sides, and tiny flowers around them bloomed without even a drop of sunlight, as a flush filled Asriel's face. Overfilled cups. That's a Kara reference. That's so good. Nice. Good catch, chat. Good catch. This is like a scholar of Undertale lore. I can tell the person who wrote this is a gentle gentle person, a gentle gamer, and a scholar. This text requires Nabokov levels of exegesis. I agree, chat. Whatever you just said. There's kissing, though.
Hello, ladies and gentle gamers.
Wait, that's not that. Kissing. I guess tears are a bodily fluid. We have lots of tears so far. Icy was referenced a little bit. I'm gonna say the candles maybe count. If Icy is invited to Freaky Friday, then Icy is in the fic. What about Gex? That was it implied to happen in the past. I need like an actual like implied sex scene in the fic. That's what that means. It's like, oh, they're in a relationship. They probably fucked once. It's like that's not how it works. Okay, we can't be that lenient.
Don't worry about me, okay?
Asriel's eyes finally spilled, but there wasn't fear or anxiety in the resultant flow. Rain came down, but it was romance movie rain, comfortable and unobtrusive. The kind that made lovers huddle indoors, cozied up in a blanket. The drops missed every candle, but they made the symbols paint run. The meaning was rearranged. Through it, there may be catharsis. This is like if Lovecraft wrote romance. That's the only way I can describe this prose. Fuck off, knocking guy.
That's going to be hard.
Asriel was still barely keeping it together. He wiped away at the tear trails making their way down his face with his palm heel. That's a word? Cool word. It smushed his cheek upward, deepening his smile lines and ironically squeezing out a few more tears.
Whoa, Azzy, phrasing. If you're going to be reincarnated as a star, at least I think that's what you said. I'll probably get reincarnated too. It'll be something radical, like a Broadway stagehand or cruise liner.
The star imagery was Burger Pants's, and let that sink in. This is like a total roll inversion here, basically. This is like a LTSI swap fic, basically. Fine, it's like if Lovecraft wrote romance and wasn't racist. Fine. Lovecraft would never write romance. I don't think that's really what that guy was into. Asriel cocked his head to the side and snickered confusedly, still sniffling a little. He had so much love for this greasy, expressive, weirdly incel adjacent for someone with a boyfriend Catman.
And the stars up there for a reason, aren't they? You always seem to me. You'll always see me, wherever I am on this earth. And at night, I can crane my head and try to pick out your shine.
Burger Pants is really down with this like metaphysical bullshit.
He's like, yeah, so what? My boyfriend's gonna turn into a star god. Whatever. We'll make it work.
Ew, very dramatic. I like it.
Well, I wanted to be an actor.
Someone's like whittling a sculpture now in the Halloween Sounds video. That's not a scary noise. It's just like someone chopping firewood. The candles behind them pulsed with each giggle.
You might get your wish. Do you want to see?
Asriel held up the grimoire.
The stars will tell you, same as me. I thought you weren't doing the right no more. You know, I love you in this life and all that.
Well, Asriel smiled softly.
I still want to know what's in store. I'll be okay if you're not with me.
We're too well, Burger Pants. He's chill with it now. He's too chill with it. You gotta pull him back. Asriel's hand meandered over to Pizza Pants's, and their fingers intertwined.
But I'd still like you to see if you will be. But I'd still like to see if you will be.
There we go. The cat's jitters flared up when Asriel held that book again, but he took a long breath to stabilize himself.
Anything for you, Az?
Silent Hill music, I think. Here we go. Can turn this down a bit. I turned it up for the Chopin. That was Toby trying to escape his shallow coffin. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to acknowledge the Deltarune news, which are barely news. Basically, Toby just confirmed that chapters 3 and 4 would not release in 2024. Like, that's effectively all it amounted to, is like, if you thought it was going to be by the end of the year, stop hoping. I was not looking for reassurance that it wouldn't take till 2026. It's 2025, so that's that. No, this is some Halloween noises. This sounds a lot like the Twilight Princess soundtrack in the Twilight world. The same kind of synth pad. These fucking ASMR sounds. Stop clawing out of your coffin, Toby. Holy shit. Okay, these random Halloween sounds suck. I'm turning them off. They're a total bust. Let's go to 1 hour of silence occasionally broken by metal pipe falling sound effect instead. Perfect. No, we're not doing that. Yeah, we need the Hypnospace soundscape. That's true. We need those. I could boot up No, probably wouldn't capture the audio from that if it was tabbed out. Never mind. Why does Alfie's equal metal pipe sound effect? What is your association, chat? He nodded stoically, at least he hoped it came out of stoic, and Asriel began the incantation. Its words were harsh and whispery, like the thing that had originally spoke it used unearthly consonants. That sound could only be approximated, that could only be approximated in the common tongue. I.e., Lovecraft. I've heard of him. Asriel's voice, normally soft and sweet, grew dark and cold. Pizza Pants knew that this wasn't the first time in a long time. Oh, this was the first time in a long time that these words were said with their true meaning. At first, nothing happened. Then the shadows between the trees deepened. The shadows grew and leapt, you might say, and the stars burned brighter above. Wind hammered the tent and shook the leaves. The dew still steered clear of the candles, whose flames grew long and thin, like plants reaching for their sun. Even the grass around them wanted to greet the firmament. And some blades crept vine-like up their arms, as more stretched upward to sway in the gathering gale. Motes of light dripped down from the heavens, forming bright stalactites that lit the treetops with a silvery glow. Even through all of that, Asriel's hand never left Pizza Pants's. He delivered the last stanza of the spell with gusto and squeezed Pants's hand. He bestowed one last look at the beloved, who watched Asriel's joyous tears float through the air. Unconcerned with gravity, there was only one thing on Pants's mind. Asriel's the most beautiful creature I've ever met in my goddamn life. He didn't say that out loud, but he could have. Their lips caught in a kiss that reverberated through their bodies as the candle flame, now taller than any monster, connected with the light of the night sky. In the camera flash of starlight that followed, Pants could make out the final meaning of the symbol, now exposed to the full radiance of its authors. Through it, there may be a bond everlasting. The fuck did you do, Asriel? What did you do, bro? Alright, we've moved to screenplay.
It must be strange being a child of the sunshine. Your broadness, your taut skin floating in nothing but photons.
It must be strange being a creature of the earth. Your litheness, your fur bracing you against the cold carried by your air.
It must be strange, your wings that catch sun rays and spin them into kaleidoscopic rainbows.
It must be strange that your tail balances you as you move from stairwell to rooftop to treetop.
This is the end poem. Is this the fucking end poem?
Strange, your eyes with wide pupils that survey the infinite horizon.
Strange, your eyes with thin pupils that slice into the prey.
Strange, your ears that hear the nebulous song and the chants of the white dwarfs.
Strange, your ears that flick and half understand the bipedal's tongue.
How do you feel when you look down at my home, from an afar that the bipeds have never touched?
How do you feel when you look up at mine, from the blue marble that something in me once called home?
How did you feel riding the solar wind planetward, flapping wings that propelled no air?
How did you feel stalking the trees, putting on a performance that no one applauded?
Did you know then, as your hooves touched the soil?
Did you know then, as you sauntered after their noise?
Did you know then that you would remember?
Did you know then who you would meet again?
Why did you come back here?
Why did you not run from me?
Why did your gargantuan frame squat down? Why did your arms beckon to me?
Why did your tiny body climb up to my vestigial form? Why did your forehead nuzzle mine?
What did you do when you wished that I could understand and willed it into existence?
What did you do when you felt words snap into place and reorganize your memory into something meaningful?
What did you do to make my mind so full?
What did you do to make my heart so light?
What are you that dances in the sunlight?
What are you that crawls and jumps and scavenges?
What are you for whom the world beats like a heart?
What are you for whom the stars are mere sparkle in the black?
You asked me if your voice was reaching me.
You asked me if I was an angel.
You said I don't know.
You said you could teach me.
As your wings spread, you asked if I was to travel with you.
As your eyes widened, you asked if we were ever to stop.
As you cradled me in your arms, you promised me that we wouldn't.
As we left your gravity, well, you made me promise again.
How grand your milky sea of living fire.
How grand your vast tapestry of buzzing life.
How grand the distance between these fireballs, the power that they wield.
How grand the smoke and the noise of the city, the stories that breathe meaning into matter.
The voice is peaceful. When someone whispers me names of the stars.
The void is peaceful when someone whispers constellations back.
What the fuck is happening? That's a good question, chat. The fic turned into the end poem for a minute. Like, that was beautiful. That was actually beautiful. It was completely detachable from the context of, like, Asriel and Pizza Pants. To the extent that I'm wondering if it's quoting something, or if this is an unrelated poem. But damn, it goes hard. It's got a lot of vibes. It's got a lot of vibes because it's written like a cool poem. It reminds me of Disco Elysium. It reminds me of Slay the Princess. It reminds me of Minecraft. A little bit of Night in the Woods, true. It's cosmic. This is just a short story, but they replaced the names with Pizza Pants and Asriel so you would read it. Honestly, based if true. Completely valid play. Day spread over the campsite. The candles had finally blown out, the sage leaf was nowhere to be found, and the canvas square had been tossed off the top of the log, or tossed on top of the log. The light found two young adults, snuggled against each other and sleeping peacefully, torsos in and legs out of a battered tent. 20-foot blades of grass were flattened in a massive concentric circles, radiating outward from the campsite. No one in hometown would ever be able to explain this phenomenon, and a certain two people who had been there stayed mum, so it would go awkwardly ignored. Behind the pleasant gradient of the morning sky were the stars that, one day, two pairs of eyes would regard together as they wheeled through the endlessness, a cat and a god, floating up there in the cold, but not empty, space between. Asriel and Pizza Pants shifted and stirred, and began to greet the new dawn. Yo. Yeah, cosmic non-horror. Has it ever been done before? The light novel title is my cosmic deity boyfriend can't possibly be this sensitive. That went hard. Yeah, that went real hard. This is the kind of shit that this like Slay the Princess fans go on about. I say that as if I'm not a Slay the Princess fan. I do like Slay the Princess. The sort of like cosmic romance angle. It's good.